Hello and welcome to another video from the Greener Side Language Academy. Now at this point, you would have completed 2 out of 3 papers for your CSEC Spanish exam. You would have completed papers 2 and 3. That's the written paper as well as the oral exam. Now the only paper remaining will be the paper 1 exam, which has to do with listening comprehension as well as reading comprehension. So without further ado, let's focus our attention on that in today's video. So let's talk about the layout of this paper. Now this paper is separated into 2 parts. The first part is the listening comprehension, where you'll receive 30 multiple choice questions. So you will hear recordings in Spanish, to which you should choose the appropriate response out of the 4 options given to you. So in the first section, you'll receive 4 pictures for each question, and a short recording, maybe a sentence long, will be read to you, and maybe a question will be asked, and you'll be required to choose the most appropriate picture that fits the situation. Alright, in other cases, you'll be required to pick the picture that would best complete a particular sentence given to you. So you're given a fragment of a sentence, and then the picture is the item or object or activity that would complete the idea. In other cases, you'll be given some announcements that will be read aloud to you in Spanish. Depending on the question, it may only be read once, but there are some certain situations in which the announcement will be read twice. Alright? Then you have the sentence completion. So there are certain things, for example, certain items where you will hear a fragment of a sentence, and then you will have to choose the most appropriate option to complete that sentence that you just heard. Now, these recordings can be short as well as they can be long. So it can be as short as 1 sentence, it can be as long as maybe 2 paragraphs, which would amount to anywhere between 1 and 2 minutes. However, for those longer recordings, it would be read more than once, so you don't have to worry. You will hear it more than once, and usually the second time it's being read, it is read more slowly and clearly to ensure that you hear everything. Now for the part 2 of the exam, of this paper I should say, it's a reading comprehension where you'll receive 30 multiple choice questions. You will also have some form of sentence completion where you'll be given maybe a passage or a sentence and you'll have to fill in the blanks. So this will work on your grammar and your vocabulary, of course, so you have to ensure that you're studying your grammar still and brushing up on your vocab. You'll also receive questions based on announcements, advertisements, invitations, and so on. So in this case, you will see an announcement, in Spanish of course, or an ad or an invitation, and you'll be required to answer questions based on those items. Alright, so that will be our focus for today, the reading comprehension. We're going to be looking at a sample paper, but before we look at a sample paper or a specimen paper, let's examine some tips. So one thing that you are always encouraged to do is to read each item carefully. You must read each item carefully. Lack of reading or lack of careful reading usually results in disaster. So please ensure that you read carefully. This is of course for the reading comprehension. You should also try your best to underline keywords with a pencil. Now I know that in the exam sometimes they tell you not to write on the paper, but at times for your own sanity and for your benefit, you need to make a little scribble or underline the keywords just so that you can maintain some key ideas. Keep that in your head, focus on those things, and that will sometimes help you to answer the question. Notice I said with a pencil, so that when you're done, if you have enough time, you can erase it. Also, read the questions carefully and try to decipher what is being asked of you. So again, Read, read, read carefully. And when all fails, you might not know a particular word, you might not know what happens there. Use the process of elimination. Eliminate what you know could not go in a particular space or would not fit a particular situation until you're left with the least unlikely thing, meaning the thing that is least problematic, the item that is, or the option that is least problematic. So when all fails, use the elimination process. All right. So we're going to head over to a PDF document that I've compiled with the specimen papers. All right, so here we are. So we're going to be looking at the reading comprehension section, as I had mentioned earlier. So of course, here are the instructions. You can pause the video and read those, of course, because I always encourage reading. But essentially, it's giving you an example. It's giving you the instructions as well as an example of a question and how you'd approach said question. So, of course, you're going to select the answer which best completes the sentence, and then, of course, shade the corresponding space on your answer sheet because it's multiple choice. So here we have, no me levanto temprano porque la oficina está blank hoy. So you try to decipher what this sentence is saying. I don't get up early because the office is blank today. What would go there? What do I immediately start to think of? Okay, maybe I could think, okay, the office is closed. Maybe it's, under renovation. It could be anything. But of course, we're going to limit our imagination to the options. So option A is cerrada. Option B is rota. C, fuera de cerca. Cerrada means closed. Rota means broken. Fuera means outside or away. Cerca means near. So the most appropriate response, based on, of course, what makes the most sense, would be cerrada. You don't get up early because the office is closed, right? So that would be the correct response. So let's take a look at items 31 to 34. And these are just individual cases where you have a sentence and you have to complete it with the appropriate option. So number 31. Voy a leer y hacer mis deberes en. So I'm going to read and do my homework in. So that's why I said grammar and vocabulary are very important for this exam, for this paper. So la biblioteca, the library, la librería, which often is a false friend, amigo falso, because we look at it and we think library, but it means bookstore. So do I do that? Do I read and do my homework in a bookstore? La librera? Not sure what that is maybe. Well, we move on. La estantería, that means shelves. Would I do my homework on the shelves? No, we don't even have to think about this one too hard. We do our homework and read in the library, la biblioteca. So we choose A. Now, let me actually choose it so that it's more. Yeah, there we go. Los empleados se nieguen a entrar en la fábrica porque hay, this is number 32. So the employees refuse, negarse is to refuse or to reject. So refuse to enter la fábrica, the factory, because there is what? Trabajo. They don't want to go in because there's work. That doesn't sound right. Porque hay dinero. They don't want to go into the factory because there's money. Porque hay huelga. Because there's a strike. That sounds more like it, right? But we're still going to look at option D. Porque hay empleo. And a synonym of trabajo, which is work. So it couldn't be that. So we know that the only reason they would refuse to go in to their place of work is because there's a strike. If we didn't know the word huelga, you know it now, right? Very important word to know. That's why vocabulary is so important. Number 33. Hace 2 meses que no llueve. La tierra está muy blanco. So it's been 2 months that there has been no rain or it has not rained. The earth is very what? So if it doesn't rain, the earth becomes what? Or the ground, the soil becomes what? You guessed it, dry, don't it? That's the only thing that we can think of. Lluviosa means rainy, so that doesn't make any sense. If it doesn't rain, the soil can't be rainy. Seca, dry, as we had thought. Cansada, tired. The soil is tired. Don't think we would say it there. Fresca, fresh. Would the soil be fresh if there's no rain? No. Of course, by a process of elimination and of course by just common sense, we know B is the answer. The soil would be dry, seca. And number 34, no me gusta el pollo hervido. Prefiero comerlo. So this, again, importance of the knowledge of vocabulary. I don't like boiled chicken. Hervido means boiled. So we need to know our vocabulary there as it relates to all the topics we've been looking at. Prefiero comerlo. I prefer to eat it. The chicken, of course. Obviously, we know that this is going to be talking about a different cooking style. It's not boiled, but it's... We'll see. So we have rosado. Now, rosado, people might look at it and think it means roasted, but rosado means pink. I'm sure you don't want to eat your chicken pink at all. Salmonella. Enfriado. You look at this and you might think, fried, right? No, the word for fried is frito. Enfriado means cold or chilled. So that's definitely not how you want to eat chicken. What about asado? What does that even mean? If you knew your vocab, you know that means roasted or barbecued. Asado. Barbecho, false friend again, it does not mean barbecued, so we can't have that. So the correct answer is asado. See why you need to know your vocab? Alright. Let's move on to a different type of question now. Now this one is a passage where you fill in the blanks. Alright. So here we have, of course, instructions again. You're supposed to choose the best response. And you're supposed to ensure that you fill in the blanks of the passage based on the numbers. So if you see the blank has 45 under it, the options for 45 will be here, where you see the number 45, and so on and so forth. So you have to be very careful when it comes to that. Now, this one, I'm not going to complete everything. I'm going to stop at number 49 and have you all respond in the comments what you think numbers 50 to 52 are. So I'm going to stop at 49 and you're going to tell me in the comments what you think numbers 50 to 52 are, and you should give some sort of reasoning behind your answer. Alright, let's go. So here it says, encuentro con una vendedora panameña. Encuentro sounds like the verb encontrar, which means it can mean to find or to meet. So an encounter, basically a meetup, an encounter with a Panamanian vendor. Okay, so it's a conversation, right? And we're supposed to try to fill it in. Let's try to read the entire passage before we even attempt it. So I'm gonna give you maybe 10 seconds, of course, within which you can pause the video to read it before I go ahead and try to and attempt questions 45 to 49. So go ahead and pause the video. Now, so looking at it, ¿Y no me va a vender, mujer? And you're not going to sell me anything, lady? No me hace blank grite. So, no me hace. So of course she's saying to the lady, are you not going to do something? Right? So what is the expression that needs to go here after asking? No me hace nada. You're not going to do anything to me? Maybe. But let's look again. No me hace caso. Now, hacer caso a alguien means to pay somebody attention. So maybe is that what she's saying? Don't know. No me hace ganas? I'm not sure if hacer ganas is an expression. I know tener ganas means to have a desire to do something. No me hace celos? I mean, you're not making me jealous. Celos is for jealous, and that doesn't even work in that context. So it can't be any of these. We're using the process of elimination. So of course, I think the best thing would be no me hace caso. Aren't you going to pay any mind? Pay me any mind? Pay me any attention? That's what that is saying. Hacer caso, to pay attention. Because she says before, aren't you going to sell me anything, lady? So obviously she feels a bit ignored. Whoever the speaker is feeling ignored. Right? So you're not paying any attention to me. So caso is the correct answer. Number 46 now. Which object pronoun should go there? Lo grite, le grite, las grite, and I think this should be grite with an accent over the E to say I shouted, basically. So gritar is to shout, so it should be grite. So lo grite, no, it's a woman, so would we say lo? No, because that's a masculine object, and of course it's a direct object. For a verb such as shout, or say, or respond, responder, decir, gritar, you're going to use an indirect object pronoun, right? In this case, it would be either le or les to say that you shouted to somebody. If you use the direct object pronoun, you're saying something that you shouted. So the actual statement that you shouted, that would be the direct object pronoun that you'd use to replace that. But in this case, it's trying to say, I shouted to her. So, would it be le or les? Les is for ellos, ellas, and ustedes, which would mean I shouted to them or I shouted to you all. But le is for él, ella, and usted. And ella means her. So I shouted to her, le grité. I know this one is a bit more complex. Object pronouns is a very complex topic. But of course, that's something you'll have to review as well. Then for number 47, we have ¿Y ustedes piensan que pueden a mí? Do you all think that you can me? Whatever she's trying to say. Con su americano. Tan solo para después. So this is a bit of a loaded sentence here. So let's see. Having read the entire passage, you should have an idea of what is going on here. So 47, let's see. Would you say, do you think you can walk to me? Andar a mí? Is that the way that you'd say walk up to? Not in Spanish. It might sound that way literally. But andar is just used basically to talk about you walking, not walking up to somebody or approaching them. ¿Ustedes pueden gustar a mí? Is she talking about, she liking? Do you think that you're able to make me like you? No, that sounds a bit strange. It's a business operation here. What does liking have to do with it? Sí, acercarse a mí. Now, acercarse means to approach. So, do you think you can come up to me or approach me? Let's try D, declarar. Do you think you can declare to me? I mean, kind of a bit strange here. The a mí here tells us that there is, that you couldn't just have put me at the end of the verb to say me, to me. So usually for a case like that, it's because it's a verb like acercarse that already has a reflexive pronoun at the end. Anyway, don't think too deeply into that. But the most sensible answer here would be, you think you can come up to me? Acercarse. Con su blanc americano. What do you think she's talking about here? Con su dinero americano, with your American money? Con su dolor americano, with your American pain? Not really. con su chaqueta americano. Well, chaqueta is feminine, so we know that can't even go with americano, which is masculine. Con su color americano, with your American color. I think the best response would be what? Dinero, don't it? Money. Do you think you can come up to me with your American money? Tan solo para después, just so that afterwards, después is after, despreciarme. Despreciar means to put somebody down or to kind of denigrate or deride, right? And then so just to put me down basically, or to deride me, or indicarme, to indicate or to point at me. Kind of strange. Acordarme doesn't work there. To remember so that I can, no, that doesn't work. Averiguarme, to verify me or to check me out. This one is kind of strange. Averiguarme. So think about the sentence. You have to read the sentence in its entirety. Do you think you can come up to me with your American money just so that afterwards you can check me out? Don't sound like it makes sense. I think the best thing here would be despreciarme, so you can basically put me down afterwards. It sounds a bit, the whole interaction is a bit particular, I know. Well, I'm gonna leave the rest up to you, right? Numbers 50, 51, and 52. Let me just go down a bit so that you can see it, right? So when possible, try to do this and put it in the comment section. Alright, so this is where I'm going to end the video today because it's getting a bit long. The rest of the paper, we're going to see if we can put that in another video. Alright, but for now, mantén la calma y aprueba el examen. Thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.